Hey, good morning, SPC-205, coming to you once again from the COVID-19 compound here in the bustling metropolis of Grovetown, Georgia, here in the Acotech outpost of Columbia County, Georgia. I'm once again your speech instructor, Victor McInnes. We're going to be doing the problem solutions rubric real quick. We're just going to go over it. First of all, outline, again, going to be worth 20 points. Do you have 4 parts in your introduction? Do you have 3 parts in your conclusion? And remember, the conclusion has 3 parts. Restatement of purpose, review of the main points, call to action. Why 30% of the outlines I got this time did not have a restatement of purpose, I do not understand. You're going to lose, at 10 points for 7 points or 8 points for that this time if you don't have that in the speech. So you need to get it in there, okay? Do you have the problem identified? Do you have the cause and effect shown? Do you have the solution shown with practicality and efficacy? It can be done and it will solve the problem. Do you have 3 pieces of evidence? Are they highlighted? Are they well spaced throughout the speech? Those are the things I always look at with an outline. Okay, let's jump into the actual speech itself. Speech is worth 125 points. Okay, first thing, introduction, right out of the blocks, the attention device. Always goes first. Okay? Again, no questions. You cannot start off with, and again, I'm going to go with, texting and driving and pet adoption because those are both prohibited topics. Hey, do you know how many people die while texting? No, that's not going to work. We don't start with good morning, hey y'all, sup. We don't start with any of those. We start with something delivered with vocal emphasis that's going to make everybody pay attention. If it's not delivered with vocal emphasis this time, you will not get credit for having an attention device. I've been real lenient before. This time it's not going to happen. You're just going to get a big X there. Statement of purpose, preview of our main points, speaker credentials, all separate and independent of each other. We've been through all of that before. Okay? That should be fairly obvious to you. Problem should be your first main point, cause and effect. If you do not give me explicitly cause and effect or effect and cause, you're going to lose part of that 20 points. Okay? It's real simple. Texting and driving. Why are people, it's not just enough to give the effect and say that your problem is the effect, causes the effect. Hey, my effect is that 20,000 people die every year while texting and driving. And the cause of that is they're texting and driving. No, the question you have to answer, the cause you have to identify is, why are they texting to begin with? Okay? Animal adoption. The effect is millions of animals are being euthanized every year in our animal shelters. The cause is there's millions of animals in our animal shelter. That's not the cause. The cause is how are they ending up in the animal shelters? Or why are they staying there long enough to get euthanized? They don't just happen to be in an animal. Animals just do not appear one day in an animal shelter. They wind up there for a reason, and that's your cause. And remember, you can't just say, there's an effect. You have to prove to us what the effect is, and then it's significant. Solution. Okay, here's the biggest place where people get into trouble with solutions. Okay, they think they've got an obvious answer that's too stupid for anybody not to accept, so they don't think they have to prove its practicality and efficacy. And you're right. The solution to not dying while you're texting and driving is to don't text and drive, okay? But if that would go and happen anyway, just by you saying it, we wouldn't have this problem, would we? We have to do something extra to make it happen. We have to pass a law. We have to get public awareness. We have to do something other than just say, don't. The reason I took off device addiction and video gaming and all of that was because it put that on the prohibited topic list, was because when we got to the problem solution speech and the persuasive speech, the solution was always, your kids are spending too much time on their tablets. Make them stop. That will be effective because they would have stopped. Well, we've heard that all a million times already, and it's not working. You need to give us a solution. Now, in that case, the solution is very simple. Get one of those apps and load it onto your kids' devices so that after 2 hours, it shuts off for 24 hours. I mean, that was a solution that was practical and effective. I call it the common sense solution or the just don't solution. How do you keep from dying while texting and driving? Just don't text and drive. You have to give us something more than that because we have not been able to solve that problem up to this point. Now, you want to find a state that has passed texting and driving laws and the death rate from automobiles, accidents involving cell phones has dropped 62%. That's practicality, that's efficacy. You have a winner. Okay, you want to keep your kids off their tablets by installing devices that says apps that says after 2 hours of playtime it shuts down. That's effective. How practical is it to load on your phone? Is there an iOS version? Is there an Android version? Does it work in Linux? Whatever you want to do to prove that everyone can do it. Okay, just saying stop doing this. Even in the real world, that might work. Aiken Technical College is not the real world, and this class is not the real world. You're going to have to prove that it can be done, and it will solve the problem, or you will lose 20 points. But if you get up there and say, hey, the country is obese because we eat too much, the solution is don't eat so much. Good night. You're going to get a 0 out of 20 for that. I'm just warning you now. Okay, second of all, evidence. I guess we're now down to third, fourth, whatever. Evidence. Use 3 pieces of evidence, get 15 points. And again, you may have 3 pieces of evidence in your outline. If it's not in your speech, you don't get any points for it. You'll get 0 out of 15. I hear according to, I say quoting, I hear, that's from, you get check, 15 points, easy to go. Conclusion. Now the conclusion again has 3 parts. 3 parts. Okay? A restatement of purpose, review of the main points, and the call to action. But we've taken the call to action out of the conclusion and put it further down. You'll see that, and we'll get to it in a minute. Okay? If you do not restate your purpose in this speech, it is 8 points. Gone. If you don't summarize your main points, that's 8 points. If you don't do either, it's 50 points total. Okay? Because we put the call to action down in another segment of the outline, the rubric, that increases the importance of making sure you get that restatement of purpose and that review of your main points into your conclusion. Okay? Then we got nonverbal delivery for 15 points. You've seen that before. Okay? That's really straightforward. I ran out of room, so I didn't include it in all the details here. And then finally, persuasive intent effectiveness. First thing that I'm going to be grading there is persuasive language. And this is kind of down separate because this goes through the entirety of the speech. If you get up there and in your preview of your main points say, we're going to discuss the problem of texting and driving today, and I'm going to give you a solution that might solve that problem. That's going to cost you points for persuasive language. From the jump, you've got to be into your solution being the best thing ever. And I do mean ever. Okay? I don't want to hear any, this should solve the problem, this could solve the problem. You are a politician on the campaign stump and you are drumming up votes. That's the attitude I want you to have. You are a used car salesman that is trying to get this person to buy that 1996 Volvo. Okay? That 2004 Subaru is the best car you've ever seen for that money, and you would be a fool not to purchase that car. That's what we're looking for in this. Okay? And it's got to go. You got to say best. You've got to say the only. You've got to say this problem is horrific. You need to use those superlatives to make your persuasive point. Okay? And also, there's a non-verbal component to that. If you stand up there and you go, yeah, today I got a great solution for you. It'll solve the problem, and everybody will be happier and live longer and healthier lives. Okay? Persuasive intent, persuasive language, persuasive effectiveness. You need to be talking with passion and animation like we've been talking about since day one in this class. Okay, call to action. I've been over this. It was in the lecture. I gave a lot of you guys a lot of advice on how to improve your call to action. I need a concrete action. Something they can do in the real world. Call your local representative. Change your socks. Sign this petition. Take a menu. Something that they are going to do. Remember, you do that in persuasive speaking to get them to make a physical commitment to your cause and show they are physically committed, even if it's something small and trivial, like take this letter, sign it, add your name, mail it to your congressman, and get in on this fight. We need to do it today. Okay? You need to come into it with that kind of attitude. And if it's your call to action is, so now you know more about overeating and you'll be able to make better nutritional decisions as you go through life. You did not have a call to action. That is a closing statement. Okay? Last thing I'm going to say. I put on a lot of rubrics for problem solution speech. Not most, not many, but enough to where I have to say this every time we do persuasive speaking. I get a lot of informative speeches in this, but people just do not want to be persuasive. They want to tell us about a problem. They want to show us the cause and the effect of the problem. They want to give us a solution that's both practical and effective. But then when it comes down to closing it and saying, hey, we need to adopt this solution today, they never close that gap. So that's what you got to do to get 125 out of 125 on this speech. Okay? You get up there, you plant your, and listen, and again, every semester I get emails saying, I don't know how you expect us, what your grading criteria is, and I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm going to be grading on. You get up there and you turn your camera on, you get set, your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, your head up, your hands away from your body, occasionally dropping to your side. Okay, eye contact made with the camera, not looking all around the room, but looking at your imaginary audience. You give me a good attention device that is not a question, that is delivered with vocal emphasis. You give me a statement of purpose, identify your credentials and why you should be speaking on this, and then preview your main points. You identify a problem that has both a significant effect and an identifiable cause. You then give me a transition into your solution, which is practical and can be done and will effectively solve the problem. You prove all of that with at least 3 pieces of evidence. You restate your purpose and you transition to your conclusion. You restate the purpose of your speech. Today I've talked to you about. You review your main points. I did that by discussing 3 main points. And then you give me a call to action that involves a concrete physical action to be done by the audience. 125 out of 125. It's that simple. Okay? All right, that's it. I'm going to post this today. Look for an announcement. Well, if you've seen the announcement or you wouldn't know this video is out there. Okay, everybody take care, stay safe. Again, stay in contact. Closing out last week and change of the semester. A lot of stuff going to be going on next week. So please reach out to me. Do not let things get ahead of you. Make sure that I'm in contact with you. And stay safe.